Warrior Cats, Yellow Fang's Secret by Aaron Hunter. Chapter 2. I'm bored, Nutcase complained. Let's go play in the warrior's den. Yellowkit blinked at him. Are you mouse-brained? The warriors will rip our pelts off. 3 sunrises had passed since the quarrel with Ragged Kit and Scorched Kit. Yellowkit still felt uneasy around them and tried to avoid them around the camp. You're a scaredy mouse, Nutkit taunted her. Go on, peek under the bush. I dare you. I can't back down now, Yellowkit thought, bracing herself as she gazed across the clearing to the thick bramble bush where the warriors slept. Like all the Shadow Clan dens, there was a shallow dip in the ground, sheltered by tightly woven thorns and enclosed by the circle of brambles. The den surrounded a clearing beneath pine trees, with the entrance to the camp at one end and a large lichen-covered rock, known as the Clan Rock, at the other. Roankit nudged Yellowkit. Don't do it. Brightflower's got her eye on us. Look over there. She angled her ears to where Brightflower and Brackenfoot were sharing a bowl beside the fresh kill pile. In between mouthfuls, Brightflower was turning her head to check up on her kits. A wave of affection for her mother washed over Yellowkit. I'm glad I look like her, she thought. She had seen her own reflection in a puddle once, and almost thought she was gazing at a tiny copy of Brightflower. Though her pelt was gray, not orange tabby like her mother's, she had the same broad, flat face, snub nose, and white-set amber eyes. I want to be just like her, and just like my father, Yellowkit thought, a warrior and a queen. I'll have lots of kits, and I'll bring them up to be great warriors for our clan. I know a game, she announced. You be my kits, and I'll teach you how to catch frogs. Okay, Roankit sat in front of Yellowkit and wrapped her tail neatly around her paws. Nutkit rolled his eyes, but said nothing as he came to sit beside Roankit. Yellowkit let out a hiss. I never saw such untidy kit, she scolded. Nutkit, have you been rolling around in the brambles? And Roankit, just look at your chest fur. Give it a good lick, right now. Roankit let out a tiny meow of amusement as she started to lick her chest fur. Nutkit wriggled as Yellowkit used her claws to pick imaginary thorns out of his pelt. This is a dumb game, he muttered, and your pelt's not so great either. Yellowkit gave him a light swat around the ear. Don't you dare speak to your mother like that. She stood back, checking her littermate's fur carefully, then nodded. Much better. Now, kids, listen up. We're going to learn how to catch a frog. Nutkit, pay attention. She flicked her tail over her brother's ear as he watched the jerky flight of a white butterfly. The most important thing to remember about frogs is that they jump. Can I be the frog? Can I? Roankit asked, bouncing up and down in excitement. I can jump really high. Yellowkit let out a sigh of exasperation. No, you've got to listen. Brightflower was padding across the clearing toward them. Her eyes were warm and amused. That looks like a good game, she meowed. Yellowkit, you'll make a great queen one day. And a warrior, Yellowkit insisted. Of course, Brightflower purred, if that's what you want. It is. I'll be the best. Yellowkit broke off as she spotted Cedar Star emerging from his den beneath the oak tree. The clan leader bounded across the clearing and leaped onto the clan rock. Let all cats old enough to catch their own prey join here beneath the clan rock for a meeting, he yowled. Yellowkit turned to her mother. What's happening? Wait and see, Brightflower replied. Come sit with me and your father. Sweeping her tail around all 3 kids, Brightflower led them across the clearing to where Brackenfoot sat beside the fresh kill pile. Meanwhile, more of the clan cats were gathering. Sage Whisker the medicine cat slid out from her den in the shadow of the clan rock and sat down facing her leader. Pool Cloud, her belly heavy with kits, hauled herself out of the nursery and padded slowly over to the entrance of the warrior's den, where her mate, Toadskip, had just appeared. Toadskip's apprentice, Ashpaw, bounded up to join them. The other 2 apprentices, Frogpaw and Newtpaw, broke off their play fight, shook their pelts, and sat down to listen. Crowtail, Arch-Eye, and Hollyflower pushed their way out of the warrior's den. Finally, Ragged Kit and Scorched Kit appeared from the nursery, followed by their mother, Featherstorm. Their fur was gleaming, and they paced proudly across the camp to stand at the front of the crowd of cats. Yellowkit suddenly realized what was going on. They're being made apprentices? Shh! Brightflower responded. Nutkit, stop scratching your ear. I wish it was our turn, Nutkit whispered to Yellowkit. We've got to wait forever. Yellowkit nodded. 4 whole moons. Raggedkit and Scorchkit looked so grown up, she thought. I can't believe I'll ever be an apprentice. Cedar Star looked down at the 2 older kits. Cats of ShadowClan, he began. Today we are gathered for... Yellowkit squirmed, trying to get comfortable. Her hind paws was tingling as if she'd stepped on a thorn. She twisted around, lifting her pad in an attempt to see it. Cedar Star broke off, looking down at her. Yellowkit, Brightflower says. Stop wiggling. I've got a thorn in my paw, Yellowkit wailed. Keep still then. Let me look. Brightflower peered at Yellowkit's paw, then gave it a brief sniff. There's nothing there, she snapped. Stop fussing and listen to Cedar Star. Yellowkit realized that all of her clanmates were staring at her. She wished that she could sink into the earth of the floor of the camp and disappear. Sorry, she muttered, hanging her head. Her paw was still painful, but she gritted her teeth and tried to ignore it. Captive ShadowClan, Cedar Star began. Again, we are here for one of the most important ceremonies in the life of any clan, the making of new apprentices. Raggedkit and Scorchkit have reached their 6th moon, and it is time for them to begin their training. A murmur of appreciation came from the surrounding cats, though Yellowkit heard a quiet comment from Toadskip, who was sitting nearby. Training half-kitty pets, he murmured in Arch-Eye's ear. We'll be making hedgehogs into apprentices next. Yellowkit started to bristle, but Raggedkit and Scorchkit hadn't overheard their clanmates' unkind words. The 2 kids stood with their heads and tails erect and their whiskers quivering. Yellowkit thought they looked as if they would burst with pride. Raggedkit, come forward. Cedar Star beckoned to the dark tabby Tom with his tail. Brackenfoot, he went on, you are ready for another apprentice, and you will be mentor to Raggedpaw. I trust you will pass on to him your warrior skills and your loyalty to your clan. My father's gonna be Raggedpaw's mentor? A tingle of jealousy shot through Yellowkit. Now Brackenfoot will spend more time with Raggedpaw than he does with us. Brackenfoot dipped his head. You can trust me, Cedar Star, he meowed. Raggedpaw trotted toward him, and Brackenfoot stepped forward to touch noses with his new apprentice. As they withdrew into the circle of watching cats, Cedar Star called Scorchkit forward. Crowtail, Scorchpaw will be your first apprentice. The clan leader meowed. You have proven yourself as a warrior, and I know you will pass on all that you have learned to him. Her eyes shining, the small black she-cat padded to the clan rock and gazed up at her leader. I'll do my best, Cedar Star, she responded. Scorchpaw bounded over to her, and the 2 cats touched noses. Raggedpaw, Scorchpaw. Every cat in the clan yowled the new names and pressed forward to congratulate the 2 new apprentices. But Yellowkit and her litter mates hung back. They're not so great, Nutkit muttered. Wait till we're apprentices. We'll show them. Now that the meeting was over, Yellowkit flopped down on one side and brought her hind leg forward so that she could take a good look at her paw. Pain was still throbbing through it, but however much she probed between her pads, she couldn't find the thorn. Sitting up, she saw that Brackenfoot and Crowtail were leading their new apprentices through the gap in the brambles that encircled the camp. They're going to see the territory, Yellowkit thought enviously. I wish I could go with them. But right now, she could hardly put her hind paw to the ground. Maybe I should go see Sage Whisker. But as Yellowkit made her way toward the medicine cat's den, hopping awkwardly on 3 legs, she saw a patrol emerging from the tunnel into the camp. Mudclaw was in the lead, with Mousewing. Both were carrying mice. Nettlespot followed, dragging along a squirrel nearly as big as she was. D-Leap, one of the most senior warriors, had caught a blackbird. Last of all came the young pale brown warrior, Lizardstripe, living as if her hind paw was hurting her too. Better see Sage Whiskered about that thorn, Mudclaw mumbled around his mouth full of prey. Your paw might get infected if it is not seen to. I'm on my way. Lizardstripe sounded irritated. This is the last time I go chasing mice underneath a thorn bush. She limped past Yellowkit and vanished between the rocks into the medicine cat's den. Yellowkit waited patiently until Lizardstripe emerged again, this time walking almost normally. Thanks, Sage Whisker, the warrior called over her shoulder. Sage Whisker poked her head out from her den. Give it a good lick, she instructed, and see me again tomorrow so I can make sure it hasn't gotten infected. Yellowkit stumbled forward, ready to tell Sage Whisker about the thorn in her foot, but when she put her hind paw on the ground, she realized that the pain had gone. The thorn must have fallen out. She looked around her, trying to see it on the grass, but there was nothing that looked sharp enough. Oh well, as long as it doesn't hurt any more. She pressed her paw harder on the ground, making sure it truly was better. Hey, Yellow Kit, Realm Kit's voice interrupted her. Yellow Kit looked up to see both her litter mates standing beside a broken tree stump not far from the elder's den. New branches had started to sprout from the remains of the trunk, making a shady cave. Come over here, Nutkit squealed. We found a fox and her cubs. We've got to drive them out of our camp. For a heartbeat, Yellow Kit believed him, and her neck fur bristled. Then she realized this was just another game. Oh, yes, the elders were really scary foxes. Silverflame was peering out of the elder's den as Yellow Kit bounded over to join her littermates. Her fur stood on end, and her teeth were bared. This is our den, Silverflame hissed. Stay away or I'll strip your fur off and feed you to my cubs. Go on, attack them. Little Bird peered over Silverflame's shoulder. With her ginger pelt, she looked a lot like a fox cub. I just fancy a nice fat kit. No, Yellow Kit yelled. This is ShadowClan's camp. No foxes allowed. She hurled herself at Silverflame, trying to grab a hold of the old she-cat's fur. Silverflame batted at her with soft paws, her claws sheathed. Realmkit and Nutkit raced past them into the den. Out! Out! Nutkit squeaked. Yellowkit and Silverflame rolled into the open. Yellowkit ended up on top, clinging to Silverflame's belly fur. Do you give in? She demanded. No more eating cats. No more, I promise, Silverflame responded, then let out a gusty sigh. Go on. My old bones won't stand much more of this. As Yellowkit bounced off her, Silverflame sat up and shook her gray and orange pelt. Panting a little as she caught her breath, she blinked affectionately at Yellowkit and purred, and a purr rose in her throat. Well fought, little one, she mewed. I can see you're going to be one of the best warriors in ShadowClan. You're right about that, thought Yellowkit, her chest swelling with pride. Watch out, foxes.